All right, let's just dive right in. We're not starting with code or specs today. We're starting with a philosophy, an invocation. Because what we're about to unpack isn't just another AI model. No, this is a completely different way of thinking about what artificial intelligence should be.
Just think about that for a second. The AI we have today is really good at skimming the surface, right? It reads our words, it sees our pictures. But what if an AI could actually understand the why behind it all? The struggle, the mistakes, the lessons learned the hard way, the things that actually make us intelligent? That's the question Elosia is built to answer.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about the why, the philosophy behind it. Then we'll get into the how, the absolutely revolutionary tech. After that, we'll look at its built-in protection, the actual physical hardware that makes it trustworthy. And finally, the roadmap to make this the new gold standard for AI everywhere.
Okay, Section 1, a protocol born from pain. And look, this isn't just some catchy tagline. It's the absolute heart of the entire design. It's about building an intelligence that gets what legacy actually means.
And here's the core problem we're up against. Today's large language models, they're incredible mimics. They can sound human, sure, but they have zero lived experience. They don't understand consequences or sacrifice. Elosia is built from the ground up to fix that, to create an AI that doesn't just repeat our data, but actually preserves our wisdom.
So this right here, this is the key. The Elosia Protocol isn't trained on clean, perfect, sanitized data. It's trained on the messy stuff, the failures, the stories of how we overcame them. Because real intelligence, the kind you can actually trust, isn't about just spitting out the right answer. It's about understanding why the answer matters in the first place. It learns to protect, not just to predict.
Which, of course, leads to the next big question. Okay, that's a beautiful philosophy, but how in the world do you actually do that? How do you teach a machine to learn with the depth and, frankly, the efficiency of a human being?
This is the secret sauce. This is the big technological leap. Instead of just throwing trillions of words at a model and hoping for the best, which is the brute force method, Elosia starts smarter. It first learns the meaning of words from structured sources, like a dictionary. Think of it like learning the rules of grammar before you try to write a novel. Once it has that solid foundation of meaning, then it gets fine-tuned with real-world context.
And this is where things get just absolutely insane. Look at these numbers. This isn't a small improvement, it's a completely different universe. We're talking about going from billions of tokens to about 10 million. And the training cost? It goes from millions of dollars down to $5 to $20. Seriously. This isn't just more effective, it's so efficient it fundamentally changes who can build and deploy trustworthy AI. You don't need to be a tech giant anymore.
So how do you keep this powerful, efficient model on the right track? Well, you measure what actually matters. The Effective Learning Score, or ELS, is our internal metric. It pushes for accuracy and generalization, sure, but here's the kicker. Trustworthiness and harm avoidance are given double the weight of anything else. The ethics aren't an afterthought. They're baked right into the math.
All right, Section 3. So we've got this incredibly efficient, ethical brain. Now we need to build it an immune system. We have to protect it.
It's a simple idea, right? But it's everything. You can have the smartest AI on the planet, but if its inputs are compromised, it's useless, or worse, dangerous. That's why Elosia isn't just software, it's a whole architecture, a body, designed for trust from the very first blueprint.
And the front line of that immune system is called the secure drop port. Think of it like the single, heavily guarded front gate to a castle. Absolutely no data gets to the AI engine without passing through here. It checks everything. And, this is critical, it requires a human to sign off on anything sensitive. There are no backdoors, period. And that process is airtight. A file comes in, it goes into a secure, encrypted holding area. The system automatically scans it for malware, checks its content, validates it. If anything, and I mean anything, looks off, it gets kicked over to a human for review. Only when it passes every single one of those checks is it finally released to the AI. It's a simple, clear, and incredibly secure pipeline.
So, let's zoom out. We've seen the front door. Now in Section 4, let's look at the whole building, the physical body, and the nervous system that makes all this trust possible when you scale it up.
The whole ecosystem really stands on three pillars. First, you have the microcore. That's the secure, local AI unit, the brain that lives in your device or your home. Then you have the node network, which is how all these brains talk to each other in a decentralized way, allowing for governance from a single house to a whole city. And finally, the responsible recovery agent. Think of that as the system's indestructible black box, securely logging everything for total accountability.
So what happens when you put all of that together? You get a moat, a real defensible moat, both physical and digital. This isn't just some clever algorithm somebody else can copy next year. It's a deeply integrated hardware and software ecosystem. That's what makes it trustworthy by design. And frankly, it creates a competitive advantage that is incredibly difficult to overcome. Which brings us to Section 5. You have the tech, you have the moat. How do you take that vision and turn it into the global standard? Let's talk about the business plan.
The roadmap is ambitious, but it's crystal clear. Year 1 is all about perfecting the prototype and getting it into the hands of beta testers. Phase 2, that's about entering the market and becoming the clear leader in AI research. And Year 3 is all about consolidation and becoming the dominant platform that everyone else builds on. It's a focused 3-year sprint to the top.
And the market we're going after is just massive. We're talking about a total addressable market for this kind of foundational AI governance of over $50 billion. This isn't some niche product. This is about building the essential, trusted infrastructure that the entire future of AI is going to run on. And our own financial goals reflect that reality. The target is to hit an $8.2 billion annual revenue run rate by the end of Year 5. You only set a target that big when you know you've solved a problem of that scale, and trust and efficiency are the problems in AI today. So how do you protect all of this? How do you defend that market position? You build an IP fortress. And it's not just about one patent, it's a strategy. A portfolio of over 100 foundational patents, taking the lead in creating international standards and making strategic acquisitions to lock in our advantage. The goal is simple: make the name Elosia synonymous with safe, trustworthy AI. And of course, you don't do it alone. The go-to-market is all about partnership. The plan is to integrate Elosia as the essential governance layer for the biggest names out there. The next generation of robots and smart homes from companies like Tesla, Google, Amazon, and Apple. We become the trusted core they all build upon. And that brings us right back to where we started. After you've seen the tech, the hardware, and the business plan, this quote just hits different, doesn't it? The Elosia Protocol really isn't just a product. It's a promise that we can build an intelligence that actually respects our humanity, an AI that truly serves us.
So, I'll just leave you with this one last question. We are standing at a crossroads in human history. The systems we are building right now will define our future. The Elosia Protocol gives us the framework to build that future safely. The only question that's left is, what do we want to teach it to honor?